been given the items.
That's a detail. They get them.
So barabajyana immigration ibatwara barabakirwa tunavugana nabo.
So, immigration, we carry out all those procedures, but we need to.
But they are talking about their things.
Everything will be sorted. Everything will be given money. Everything.
Even money.
Okay. And we shall okay. First keep here.
dukurikira gitabo duguye mu bibazo bikomeye twarenganye twafunzwe turengana tuzira ubusa tuzira tubazwa ibyo tutazi tuzira buturi
uburenganzira bwacu turashima leta yacu y'u Rwanda ko yadukurikiranye ibintu byose ariko ibintu badushyiraho ni ukubeshya nta biriho ariko turashimye Imana ko baduhaye uburenganzira bwacu by'umwihariko leta yacu y'u Rwanda.
To normalize relations between our two countries. The government of Uganda has withdrawn charges against 9 Rwandese nationals that were undergoing prosecution in the court-martial for various offenses. The 9 individuals who have been set free are there, and I read them out by name, and I hope they stand up when I read your name. Mr. Mugambage Nelson. Okay. Retired Sergeant Reni Rutagungira. Mr. Antien Zababahizi. Mr. Claude Yakalemi, Mr. Emmanuel Rwamucho, Mr. Augustine Ruteisile, Corporal Nzayamana Haman, Mr. Munyagabe Adrian, and Mr. Olivineza Gilbert. The above mentioned individuals are being handed over to the Uganda immigration authorities in the presence of His Excellency the High Commissioner of Rwanda for repatriation back to Rwanda today. It is the hope of the Uganda government that the Rwandese authorities will reciprocate the gesture of goodwill that we are making today. I wish to reiterate Uganda's commitment to full normalization of relations between our two countries and further assure you that any outstanding issues and concerns will be addressed in an open and transparent manner. Where you enter a nolle prosequi. A nolle prosequi is a process where someone who is charged and during trial or before trial, you decide for whatever reasons to withdraw charges against him. It's not an acquittal, no. It is a withdrawal of charges and could be rearrested or recharged. That's what nolle prosequi means. But in our case, we are doing this as a political move to ease the tension between our two countries. So that's the procedure. And where does it leave Ugandan laws? It is in accordance with Ugandan laws. It isn't that there is any flouting of Ugandan laws. Then there was the issue of how about the others? I think that's Mugambage. How about the others who have not been released? What has happened to the others? We have a list that of names that were given to us by the Rwanda government through the High Commission. Many have been dealt with and have been deported through legal means, being sent to the border with Rwanda and being signed for by the immigration authorities of Rwanda. Many of them have returned. We are doing this as an open act, as I said, to de-escalate tension between our two countries. And so the law will take its course, and indeed, this is the first step, as we have said. We hope that both sides, Rwanda also reciprocates these acts of goodwill. Ambassador Yabare carried a message from President Museveni to President Kagame, and through his special envoy to Rwanda, Ambassador Adonia. And again, through Ambassador Adonia, he brought back a message to President Museveni from President Kagame. The details are contained in that message, and I think what you are seeing today is a product of the discussion that went on. So that's when you ask about the conclusions, and as I said earlier in my statement, we hope that the rest of the issues will be dealt with in an open and systematic manner.
That this we are witnessing is a step in the right direction. I'd like to welcome my nationals back to the freedom they desire and deserve. Murakaza neza umwaka mushya kandi mu mahoro mukwiriye. I am appreciating this as a step in the right direction. And I'm mentioning step because I always like to be very clear that a step in the right direction needs to be followed by further action to end all the concerns that we have always raised over time. It's not only those that have been arbitrarily arrested. And so we'll request, in a good gesture, as the minister said, that all those who were arbitrarily arrested, and I think we've been communicating this for quite some time, and are under illegal detention, should indeed also be released. Not only that, the whole act of arbitrary arrests must also end. It's ending the whole business, bad business that has gone on for some time. I will inform you, Honorable Minister, because I've always promised you to be very open and share with you whatever I have, that even in recent times, I've had families calling me and talking about the same arbitrary arrests. So the principle of arbitrary arrest must end, must be brought to an end. That's why I say this is the right step in the right direction, but the step that should take us to a longer journey that ends the whole unnecessary business. I know the lawyer, have been following the lawyers for these who have been released, and have mentioned that there was no evidence or witnesses provided even for the cases that were raised for them, although they have been held for quite a long time. So there is a need to deal with other concerns as well. And that's why I'm talking about the journey of ending this whole thing. Appreciated, good beginning, but a journey to be walked and end. To end, to put an end to the support provided to the negative elements against Rwanda. I think this has been talked about. It's not new to anybody. It's been talked at all diplomatic levels, including the very top. The heads of state have talked about it. And so that must also be brought to an end. And indeed, maybe deal with those that are involved who are in Uganda. For me, and I think for the Rwandans and the country I represent, it is this will to establish the smooth running of bilateral relations that will revamp the associated mutually beneficial activities, including those economic and so on, including what is usually talked about, uninterrupted activities along the common border. Honorable Minister, once again, I want to state that this is a very good step in the right direction. The journey must continue, and I have briefly stated some of the things that need to be attended to. Once again, I want to thank you. I think the Honorable Minister has responded that they have, at least because we always share information. But that's not all. At the end of the day, you see, where we may not know all that are arrested anyway. And so it really lies with even those who are arrested, that know where there is will, you say, okay, we've stopped and we are releasing all of them. So that is a fact of, I mean, that's the truth about the matter. There is some information that has been shared over time about names, because we also receive them, especially from the families when people get arrested, and we continue to do that. I've just mentioned that even as recent as yesterday, I got some information that some were arrested in Barara. All I do is gather the information from the parents who mention it, and I provide it to those concerned, because that's the job. That's the way we should be approaching it. In fact, we have even discussed and said, look, if you want to, for any reason you've arrested Rwanda in this situation, inform the embassy so that we can even do, visits. These are common practices. Informing, visiting is common practices. And I think these are some of the things that we have to accompany the journey we do so that we get back to the practices that solve and, work in transparency and solve problems. So that is for me the answer, Canada.
Thank you very much.
Members of the press, we have copies of the statement.